Thanks so much for joining me. We're seeing Canada and the United States trading smoke back and forth across their borders, and boy, has it been generating a lot of talk online. We're even seeing some U.S. politicians accusing Canada of mismanaging their forests. It's been quite the ride. Let's break it down, see what's going on out there. This map from Purple Air showing us air quality as of Sunday afternoon. Still seeing lingering effects of that smoke generated from northwestern Ontario across much of the upper Midwest of the U.S., places like Minneapolis, Chicago, even still into portions of the eastern seaboard there. But as we talked about in our last video, we really saw an uptick in fire activity across the northwest states as well, and that's been generating smoke that's been reducing air quality both locally, but surprise, surprise, it's been blowing into Canada as well, into western Canada, farther to the north as well here, just Northwest Territories, Northern Alberta. This area has been plagued by wildfire smoke for quite some time. So folks out east, they'll deal with smoke for 2-3 days and you'll hear all about it. But this is standard fare, unfortunately, for a lot of folks in Western Canada and the United States, where we commonly see wildfires in the summertime. Of course, it all started on July 13th here when all of these fires blew up at once. Now, an important distinction, they didn't all ignite at once. We've been seeing some folks saying, hey, that looks super suspicious. Why did they all ignite at once? Why are they in that straight looking line? Well, in reality here, these fires started at different times, ignited mainly by lightning. We have one human-caused fire there west of Armstrong, but the majority of these started from lightning. Has been very active there across northwestern Ontario in recent weeks. These two down here along the Minnesota-Ontario border, about July 6th. June 30th for these two ignited near Atikokan, and the rest kind of July 12th, 13th. But they all exploded on the 13th because of the fire weather conditions. These fires are really driven by the day-to-day weather. And of course, we had record-breaking heat. We hit almost 41 Celsius at Armstrong, Ontario, their all-time record high with very strong westerly winds. So they all blew up at once. They didn't all start at once. It may appear that way. But of course, this is what generated all the smoke that blew southeastward and affected the air quality for tens of millions of people. I guarantee you, had this smoke blown off harmlessly to the northeast and, over very sparsely populated areas, you wouldn't have heard about it at all. So it really had to do with just the perfect combination of conditions that blew the smoke over heavily populated areas of eastern North America. Now that smoke way out over the Atlantic, of course, smoke in the lower atmosphere doesn't stick around as long. It can fall out or kind of get rained out, blow away. But in the upper levels of the atmosphere, it can persist for weeks, even months. And so we see it all swirling around here. Most of this probably generated around July 13th, 14th, now about halfway over to Europe and Africa. Perhaps that'll flow eastward and kind of give us some red sunsets or hazy skies in Western Europe in the coming days. July 13th here, we can see that smoke as of July 14th making its run across eastern North America, getting caught up in the upper level winds here off Newfoundland, continuing out into the Atlantic. And then as of July the 19th here, there is that smoke just swirling around, like I say, about halfway across the Atlantic at this point in time. As of Sunday afternoon, still dealing with a little bit of that smoke like we saw there across the upper Midwest of the U.S. and the Great Lakes region and portions of the northeastern U.S. But as we can see, these fires up here, we had some significant rain and we're going to get even more. So again, these fires really being driven by the day-to-day weather, not seeing much in the way of smoke generated at all now. So that's basically what's happening out there. You get cooler, wetter conditions. The forests don't burn like stink anymore. Of course, out west in the northwestern states on the evening of July the 17th, there's that outbreak of wildfires. It's been hot and dry and windy, and we had a bunch of lightning in the Pacific Northwest in recent days, and there you go. That smoke blowing right into southern BC and southern Alberta. We do have a couple big fires there that were also burning near Clinton, BC. But there you go. I mean, a lot of these fires, some of them burning in the sort of grassland areas of northern Oregon, but others are burning into the timber as well in north central Oregon, as well as north central, northeastern Washington. So that's unfortunate. These fires are going to continue burning for the foreseeable future, generating more and more smoke. I shot this image from my balcony in Calgary on the morning of the 18th, and you can see there's that haze that, that's wood that burned the day before in central Oregon. We could smell it. It reduced our air quality. Fairly standard fare out west here, though. As well, the evening of July 18th, we can see those fires really taking off, a little bit blowing more to the northeast there, but still pushing smoke into British Columbia and Alberta, especially these fires here in northern Washington. Where we're at on Sunday afternoon, as a whole in Western Canada, like I say, you can see some lingering smoke there in the Canadian prairies, parts of Montana there, but by far, really gross skies up there and horrible air quality through much of the Northwest Territories. They've been dealing with smoke there for quite some time. And unfortunately, lots in recent years, 2023, 2025, even 2024, I think, there's been just year after year of horrible air quality in the Northwest Territories. Those folks have something really to complain about. Here in Western Canada, that we're looking at continued warm conditions for the next 7 days here. Temperatures above normal for the western provinces. This will mean that certain areas that are currently burning will likely continue to see favorable fire weather conditions. But notice farther to the east here, things are cooling off a little bit for us, and we're going to see a fairly active pattern for the eastern portions of the prairies in northern Ontario. Lots of rainfall. This is our 7-day rainfall total. And we're seeing appreciable rain that's going to help the fire situation here, knock down the smoke from these fires here in northeast Saskatchewan, northwest Manitoba, but especially here, those fires across northern Ontario getting a good soaking. So that's good news there. Eastern North America, you're in the clear. It looks like things are going to be a lot better, at least for the time being, unless some of this smoke from the west makes its way in your direction. But unfortunately for us here in the Northwest Territories, southern British Columbia, and the western U.S. here, remaining relatively dry. We may get some relief here in portions of the Northwest Territories in the coming days, but overall, likely seeing continued elevated fire danger conditions here. This is for Monday. Fire weather index showing extreme values persisting there in portions of central Northwest Territories, as well as across the southern BC interior. So favoring continued fire spread in these regions, but look at that nice relief out for us here in portions of the eastern prairies and northern Ontario. Of course, the fires that are generating all the smoke here, this map from firemap.live, we can see that cluster of fires very active here through central Northwest Territories. We move farther to the south. We've got a couple of really big fires burning there just to the northwest of Clinton, BC. Those are putting off a lot of smoke. And then our big smoke generators here, there's the Roe Creek complex here in north central Oregon. There's other fires throughout northern Oregon as well as the Kaiser Canyon fire here in north central northeast Washington. These are going to continue to burn, and especially those that have a lot of forests to work with, given the ongoing fire weather conditions that we're expecting. So if we look at our PM 2.5 forecast here, look at that. We're getting all that smoke, unfortunately, blowing southward out of the Northwest Territories. So most of the western parts of the country, the 4 westernmost provinces, going to be dealing with significant reductions to air quality at times, due largely to the fires in the Northwest Territories, but also locally from BC here and even a little bit from the Pacific Northwest. But in the coming days, we're going to see a little bit of a pattern change once again that's likely going to usher in more smoke here from the Northwest states across Western Canada. Let me show you why. And we'll start here actually looking at a graphic from the National Hurricane Center. Tropical storm Elida here off the west coast of Mexico. This is going to move northward up the west coast of North America in the coming days, and that is going to result in something very interesting happening. It could actually be playing a significant role in a fairly classic fire weather event that we're going to be seeing. So there you see Tropical storm Elida moving north toward the west coast of the United States, staying offshore. But if we look here at our winds at 700 millibars, or about 3 kilometers above the earth, above sea level, that is, you can see here the remnants here of Tropical storm Elida becoming extratropical here and moving up the west coast to California. This is going to be doing something very interesting for us here, like I say, playing a role in a fairly classic fire weather event. So basically what's happening here is you'll see we've got fairly strong upper ridging here in the western states, which will be associated with very high surface temperatures. That's step 1. Step 2 is that ridge starts to break down. This upper disturbance starts to move through the region, can produce some lightning. And then step 3 is going to be the winds that follow, which could lead to significant spread. So what's happening there? Well, like I say, with the ridging building in, temperatures are going to get very hot. Winds will stay relatively light, but very warm temperatures there in the Northwest states and across Western Canada in the coming days. This is going to serve to continue drying out forest fuels and really just priming us for any potential ignitions. Then, as we get, like I say, into step 2 here, as this tropical moisture moves north in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, we're going to be seeing destabilization and the potential of some lightning, and it'll be dry lightning because in the low levels it's warm. And so it's going to be very dry lightning. You're not going to have, rainfall tends to evaporate before it hits the ground. These are really high base clouds, elevated instability. Looks like Wednesday, a risk of lightning through portions of Oregon. Into Thursday, it pushes north into Washington, BC, and Friday persisting there into BC. Again, certainly not a guarantee, but with all that mid-level moisture coming north from the tropical remnants of Tropical Storm Elida, could be seeing another lightning event here. Like I say, that's step 2 of 3, and then finally step 3 as that trough ejects out across the northwest states and eastward. We'll see the winds really picking up. So again, the first part of the week remaining hot with relatively light winds. We get that potential lightning event to give us those ignitions, and then following that disturbance, winds really picking up, gusty conditions, especially Friday, Saturday, and even into Sunday. So again, any new ignitions or the existing fires are going to be, we could be seeing rapid rates of spread and the production of significant smoke. And because the winds are blowing from the southwest to northeast, that is going to be moving into Western Canada. So start of the week in Western Canada, northerly winds bringing smoke southward. Later in the week, southwesterly winds bringing smoke northeastward. So we're going to be having a relatively smoky week across Western Canada. And that smoke is going to be really different flavors of smoke. Different origins. But again, like I say, this stuff largely going to be coming from the United States. So again, one of the reasons why it's totally pointless to point fingers and accuse people of mismanagement of their forests when nature's just doing its thing. Smoke moves. It doesn't respect borders. We're going to be seeing more of that as we get later into this week. And of course, wildfire smoke, not good for you. So protect yourself. Keep those doors and windows closed at home when it's really smoky outside. And of course, avoid spending prolonged time outside. This is a good site here, just from Canada.ca. You can look up wildfire smoke, air quality, and your health to get some good tips here on keeping yourself safe. Thanks so much for joining me. We'll talk to you next time.